Okay, the recording is working now. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to review the study guide. But like before that, does anyone has any question about like what you want to go over first? Because like there in the review sheet, there are two parts. First is multiple choice, and then the second part is you need to write a program. So which one do you want to go start? The program. Okay. Uh, can you guys see my screen? Okay. So let's do the program. Okay. Oops. Mm, okay. So will this recording be uploaded? Yes, it will be uploaded to the Learning Commons website, or the professor will also share this recording too. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So in this problem, so for this previous section, you need to write two static methods. Okay, so the first one is called make found array. So what does the method do? So this method has an array of string, it's a parameter, and then it chooses one letter independently at a random from each string in the array, starting from the first, and then continuing sequentially. So what this mean is like, so as you can see here, we have a array of words, and then we are going to pick a random word from each random letter from each words. For example, let's say I will take here A, I will take O, O, A, like C, F, and so on. So, and then uh, you need to return a new word. You need to return a string. So you give a header for for this method, and then we are going to write the functionality. So this is question. So I'll write here. So it'll be public static string make void array, and I will get the array. All right. So first we are going to iterate, and then we're going to get a random character. Okay. So before we are going to do that, first we need to return a string of the answer. So first we need to declare. Okay. Declare a variable for the answer. Okay. So make a variable, let's say answer. We are making an empty string. Okay. We initialize as an empty string. Because if we just declare like this, you cannot add a character to that string. So we're going to make an empty string. Okay. And then first we're going to iterate each character. Okay. So since we know the size, we can use the for loop. So to iterate the array, for I is equal to 0 and I is less than 2, array dot length. Okay, so one thing you need to be careful about here is when you write an array length, the array length doesn't have parentheses. So let's say array length doesn't have any parentheses, but like a string. Let's say I have a string called A. If I have a string like this, A equal, let's say hi. If I have a string like this, I need to write as a dot length with the parentheses. Okay, that is the difference between the string and the array of the length. Okay, sounds good. Any question here? Okay, so we're going to iterate. Okay, so we're going to iterate. What we are going to do is we will pick. Okay, we're going to pick each letter randomly. So before that, we need to know about how random words do. Okay, so how the random function do. So right here, so random is to use a random. So you need to use a map dot random function. So the random function will return from 0.0 to it will return a double like digits. So which means that there's a decimal there. So it will return from between 0 and 1. Okay, but to use it, you need to multiply with the max minus min plus 1. Okay, and then you gotta add the min. Okay, so this is a formula to use a random method. Okay, so first you're gonna multiply with the max minus min plus 1. Then you're gonna add the min. Okay, and then it will return. So this will return a double. Okay, it won't return an integer value. It will return a double value. Even though it will give you an integer, it will give you like a 5.0 or something like that. Okay, so we are going to use this, and we are going to find a random letter. Okay, so how can we do it? What do you think? How can we write so that we can find a random letter from each word? And then remember, each word has different length. So you also need to track the length too. Okay. So does anyone has any idea for this? Like how can we write this? Any idea or any suggestion? How can we write it?
What are you asking?
So I'm asking that how can you, so we are going to pick a random letter from each word, right? So how can you write using the random method to get a random letter from each word? So it's an integer, so mat dot random time array dot length. Yes, that is correct. That is how we get a random value. Okay, random value for the each character. That's good. So, and then we are going to get each character. Okay, which mean we need, which mean that, so first we're going to get the array of I. So this is each word by casting. Okay, yes, that's correct. So array each index dot chart. Why do we use chart? We're going to get each letter. And then we're going to put the index. So the index is a random. So as Blomkin said, yes, first we're going to typecast integer because it will return a double. And then we can use math.random time the array.length. Make sure you make a parenthesis around this. Okay, let me do it with some color. So you need to make sure you put this bracket. Why we put the y? That is important because otherwise the integer otherwise it will make this value as an integer again, and it will multiply with the array.length, which can give you a wrong answer. Okay, so why we just multiply with just array length? Okay, let's break it down. So this n is a capital. So why we use dot length? So as we can say, math.random time, where's the max value? So the max value is it is not array dot length, my bad. Okay, sorry, it is not array of length. So array dot length is the size of the array. We are not dealing with the size of the array. We are dealing with the length of each word. So how can we fix this? Because like if you use the array dot length, it will be the size of the length. We are not making the size of the length. So as for example, let's look at the example. So as a cap, array dot length minus one. Yeah, but the thing is, so array dot length means here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the array dot length. But look at this word. It only has 3 letters. Okay. So we cannot use array dot length because it will give you the length of the array. What length do we want to get? Yeah, it will be array I dot length. Yeah. So the maximum is array I dot length minus 1. Okay. That is the maximum because the maximum index cannot be array dot length. If the array dot length is 3, the maximum index is 2. So when you subtract minus 1, and then we're going to add with the minimum. So minimum is 0, and we're going to add with plus 1, and then plus the minimum. So if you solve this part, you will get, so because like minus 1 and plus 1 will become 0, so it will left as array I dot length. That is how we get this array. So every time you want to use the random method, make sure you follow this one. Okay. So it will be array I dot length. Okay, let me ask you. Do you think we need to put parentheses here? I mean, the length, do we need to put parentheses or not? Anyone? Yep, we need to put the parentheses, okay? Because this array I is a word, so the length will be a string. So if you want to get the length of the string, you need to put the parentheses. Okay, so this will give you a random letter from each word, and then you're gonna put into the answer. Okay, that will give you a word from from the random letter from each word, and it will make a random word. Okay, and then in the end, you need to return the answer. Okay. Does anyone have any question? So can you repeat why parentheses or no parentheses? Okay, so let's say you have a string called, let's say, examples equal to hello. Okay, and then you have a integer array or names, and then you have like 1, 2, 3. So how can you get this length and how can you get this length? So what method do you need to call to get each length, get each length? So for string, we need to make an example dot length with the parentheses. Okay, and then for the array, you call as a just length. So there is no parentheses in the array, and then there is a parentheses in a string. Okay. You get this? Yeah, okay, no problem. All right, so this is for the first question. And then the next question is, so the second method. So you need to make a second method called make multiple word. And this make multiple word method use 2D array as a parameter, and it will return an array containing words made from each row using the make word from array method. So this is a 2D array, and then you're gonna return as an array. And then he said that write this method using the method signature given below. You must use the previous method appropriately in your code to receive full credit. So the first method that we wrote is, so if there's an array, we can return a random, and we can return a word found by a random characters. So like 2D array is, you can say 2D array is a array of the array. Okay. So what does mean array of the array? So this is one array, and this is another array. It's another color. So this is another array, and then this is another array, and then this is another array. Okay. So we can loop through it just in a single loop, and we can call this previous method that we just wrote, and then we can put into the array and then we can return that array. Sounds good? Okay. Okay, so let's write the second method. So it is public static string make multiple plots. Okay, and then we'll receive to the array. Okay. So first we're going to declare, because we want to return an array of string. So let's declare the array of string first. So this will be returned. String, parentheses, let's say this answer. Let's make a new string. And then we need to declare the size. So what size it could be? What do you think? Array to the dot length, correct? So it will be array to the dot length. So into the array, if you just call dot length, it will return how many rows are there. Okay. So how many rows are there mean how many how many arrays inside that array. Okay. So dot length mean, as you can see here, we have 4 rows, and then so the length is a 4. Okay. So you might ask, okay, how about if we want to make a nested loop, we need to call like to array to the, and then let's say I dot length. So this means that we are getting the length of the column. Okay, like this column, how many is this column, like this column. Okay, so by column, you need to use like an extra index of I to get like this for column inside that array. Okay, but like in this case, we use to array beauty.length for how many rows are there, because like we just want a word from each row. Okay, now obviously we're going to return that and answer array. Okay, so in the middle, we're going to iterate each row, and we're going to put that. So each row means you are dealing with another like all like when you iterate and truly when you iterate, you're iterating the array first in the outer loop. Okay, so let's write the outer loop. The outer loop is so I equals 0, I is less than array to the dot right I plus plus. So if we iterate, if we call array to the I, we are getting each row, which is like each array. So in the previous method, we can receive an array and we can generate each word. Okay, so we can use that. We can call the previous method to make a word that is found by random letters. So let's call, it will be make word from array. To pass that 1D array, it will return a word. Okay, so when you put each word into the array that we just create here, right? So how can we put that? So this will return a word, a single string, which is found by a random word. So how can we put that into our answer array? Any idea? Yes, it will be answer dot I. Okay, so why is I is 0. If I is 0, like it will be index 1, it will fail each, like fail each index. Okay, and then the length also match. That's why we can use that. And then we return a 1D array. That's it. So this is for the 2D array. All right, any question with these methods? Or any place that you're a little bit confused? Are we good? All right. So yep. So and then I will post this notes into the Code for All server later on if I finish all of them. And I will also share the link to the server too. All right. Okay. So these are the topics. So any topics that you want to go over first, or you just want to start the example problems? Problem. Okay. So let's start by doing the problems, and you want to, if you want any questions, you can go like deep part into that part. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So number one. So I will ask you guys questions. Okay. So which of the following code segment will produce an integer between 5 and 10, inclusive? Okay. So inclusive mean. So let's find out what is the minimum and what is the maximum. So what do you think is the minimum and what do you think is the maximum? 5 is the minimum and 10 is the maximum. Yes, correct. If it's exclusive, you don't include 5 and 10. Okay, there will be 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we know the maximum, minimum and maximum, so we can do that. So it will be max dot random I. Here is the minimum. Oh, sorry, maximum plus minus minimum plus 1. And then we add the minimum. Okay, so let's solve this part. So maximum minus minimum is 10 minus 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus minimum is 5. So the answer would be D. Okay, sounds good. All right. So let's read number 2. So consider the following code segment. So x is 3 and y is 0. Okay, so the question is, which of the following option can be used in the place of condition to make the program print yes? So we want to print yes. We want to write a condition here. The first condition is x divided by y equal to 0. Okay. So x divided by y is 3 over 0 is equal to 0. Can it be 0?
It will crash.
Yeah, it will crash. Yes, it will give you undefined or something. So you cannot divide it by 0. It's like the error will be like something you like when you run that code in the computer, it will like in the error code like cannot be divisible by 0. It will be something like that. Okay, so no, 1 is not. What about 2? Nope, it is false. Okay, no, it will not return false. It will crash, like you said. It will crash. So even though the second option is true, but for in the first expression, so how does this code work is it will run from left to right. So it was that looking here, okay, x divided by y is 0. Okay, let's try to divide. And it try to divide, but it cannot divide. It will not return false, but it cannot divide. So it will like give you an error. And it will terminate the program. Okay, so what about number 3? The first option is, well, it's true. Okay, so if the first option is true, and then we are using the OR operator, are we returning true? Or are we going to check next one? True. Yes. Yes, it is. So we are, if the first option is true, the first condition is true, we will not go to the second option. Okay, so yeah, it will return true, and then it is number 3 only is true. Sounds good. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, let's look at this. So, in this question, it will give you a code. When is the exam again? I think it's coming week. I don't know the exact date. Does everyone know? Okay, it's Tuesday. All right, it's Tuesday. Because like Wednesday, Thursday is closed. So yeah, it should be Tuesday or Monday. All right. Okay, let's look at number 3. So it will give you a code, some code here. And the question is, which of the following changes must be made so that the function work as intended? So which means something is wrong here. Okay, the value we're going to fix somewhere to make it true. The first option. Okay, let's replace point 30 with a point this one. So it will change this here. All right, but let's look at the table. If point is greater than 30, which is in here, the score will be 3, which is true. Right? We don't need to change. It's all good. And then, like, if we change, even though like if we change, it will be the same. It doesn't mean like any changes, right? So it's like points greater than 30 and points greater than equal 30, it's the same. It's not an error here. And then the second option is, okay, we're going to replace else with else if in the end here. Okay, but like, why we are going to check? We are already checking if point is greater than or equal 25. The score will be 2. Otherwise mean score points will be like less than 25. So yeah, why we should change? Right? We don't need to change, even though like this option is correct. And then let's go to number 3. So insert, okay? Insert I, change color. So insert I score equals 0 between the first two lines of the code. The first two lines, this is the first line, second line. So if you want to put like right in there, and then you want to remove all the int from the subsequent lines. So when you are looking at this, so we are declaring each score inside the block. Okay, this is a code block. If you declare something inside the code block, you cannot call that variable outside of the code block. We say this is a code block. Okay, let's say if we declare something here, and then if you want to call around here outside of the block, you cannot call it because this is not like a global variable. Like this become like a local. This is only valid inside that code block. So you cannot return score. Do you see that? So what we want to change is, okay, let's delete all the int. Okay. Then let's make a variable like up there, like before the if statement. Okay. So that we can return this score. Okay. So the answer will be B. Sounds good. Okay, let's go to next one. So so this is a method, okay, in the AP class. So let's say this is a class called AP, and then inside that class we have a method called let's say we have a method called get AP call, okay, like this inside this class, and then if the student earn this point on the exam, which line of code will currently call this method from the outside of the AP class? Okay, which means that you need to pass the point n here. Okay, so this will receive some integer value. Okay, so this is inside the AP class. Okay, now we are calling. Okay, let's say this is a main function. So we want to call this method, okay, from the main. How can we call it? So to call a method, right, outside of the AP class, yeah. So to call, if you want to call something outside of the class, uh, okay, uh, so you will need to write as So you write as a format of like class dot method name, and then we call the method, and you're going to pass it. All right. Because like I don't see any, I don't see any of like, usually you need to make an object to call a class inside, oh my God. Usually you need to make an object to call a method inside a class. But like, if you see the option, you don't see anything. Okay, but like, okay, let's look at number one. So it's called like class dot method, and you pass the parameter here. Okay, and if you look at B, we'll get AP score. You cannot just call like a method, like a function. It is outside of the class. And then when you look at number C, it doesn't make sense because like the class cannot be like behind the method. But when you look at number D, so it doesn't make sense. Why? Because like the class name cannot be in the end, can only be from. Okay, when you look at E, like what is that? Because like it's calling the parameter, you call it and the parameter, and then you call the like it doesn't make sense at all. So the answer will be A. But like usually when you want to call method, you need to create an object. So from the object, so usually object dot method. Okay, it's how you call a method from the class. But like in this question, in this answer options, it doesn't give anything there. So like, you need to check other options like by removing the impossible ones. So like you will left with the possible. Okay. So just before we get too far ahead, number two is not valid because what's then first one I was going to do. Yes, correct. Yes. So here in the number two option, so you're going to do this first. Do you think this will return false value or like this will return an error before you return anything? Okay, yeah. So that is why so it will like return an error, so you don't need to check the second one. Okay. So let's look at number five. So what is the output? It's the output question. Okay. So it is declaring a output string and declare that x and y. So x is as long as x is less than 20. Is it x is less than 20? Yep. So we're just going to do this. Okay. We are going to do this one. Let me ask you, which operation is it going to do first? Yes, this operation is going to do first. So this will become 1 over y is 1 over y. So it will just return 1. So what is the output? So the output is a string, the empty string. So x is 2, 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay. Okay. Ah, let me
I
think. It's
thought,
like, sorry?
sorry. I thought the 1 gets divided by y since m does first.
Yes, this will go first. 1 divided by 1 go first. Yes. Yes, so I'm sorry that like 2 and 1 will not add first. First, every code need to be do from left to right. Okay, so from left to right, man. So output and 1 will do first before you do other things. So since the output is a string, okay, and then x is an integer. So when you add string, the integer, so it will become a string too. The integer will become a string, and it will combine with the output. So since the output is empty string, so you add the 2 to that output string. Okay, so output is now 2, and then so 2 is a string now. Okay, and then we have a plus 1, then plus the next line. Now we're going to add these two, so we are concatenating here, and then we're going to do the next line. Okay, but like it is also put it in the output. So now the output will be 2, 1, and then go to the next line. Okay, and then we're going to do, okay, let's put x value to the y. So y became 2. And then when we go to this line, so 2 is, sorry, x is 2. So this x is 2. 3, my dot power is 3 squared. This is the base, this is the exponent, and it will give you 9. X is right 9 now. Okay. So, and then it check again here. Is it less than 20? Yes, it's less than 20. Okay. And then let me remove this. Okay. It is less than 20. And then, okay, so we're going to do this. So y is right 2 now. Okay. Y is 2. So 1 over 2. Okay, so it will become 1 over 2. All right, y is 2. Okay, so x is 9 here. So like integer divided by integer, what do you think will give you? Yes, 0. It will give you 0. Okay, because it will give you 0 0.5, and like we are dealing with the integer, so it just get that 0. And then the same thing as before, we are concatenating with the output. So the output is here already. So we are adding 9 here. We're adding 0 here, and we're adding the new line here. Okay. Okay. So next line is here. So we got x is 9. So we put 9 to the y. So y became 9. And then you can change it here. So x became 9. 3 to the power of 9. Think about it. Is it going to be greater than 20? Obviously, yes. Like you don't need math to solve it. Just try to make sense. Okay, because like 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. So you're already greater than 27. So it will stop this loop, it will output. So the output will be, so the output is like this. It will be like a string. But when you print out, it will print these two first, and then backslash n become next line, and it will go to here. Okay. So the answer will be E. All right, any question? Okay. So so the rest of the problem will be reviewed by another tutor. Okay. Suleiman. So he will go through the rest of the problems. Uh, can you do it now, Suleiman?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I can do the next rest of the problems.
Okay. So I will stop sharing.
Alrighty, tidy, folks. I'd like to thank you, Htut, and thank you, Mike, for all the help so far. So before I start, does anyone have any questions about what we just went over, or anything in specific they want to go over? Where are we on? We just finished this one. Yep. Look at the chat here. Okay. Everyone good? Okay. If no one has any like specific questions in general, I'm just gonna speed run through this as far as we can. If I go too fast or if anyone has any questions, feel free to stop me. I do have this chat open. Mike will be monitoring the chat, so but if something comes up and I miss it, you could use your mic. But yeah. So okay, everyone can hear me, right? I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. At least someone can hear me. All right, we're chilling. Okay. Question 6. Let's do this. Which of the following code segments am I recording? I think it's still being recorded. Yeah, it's still being recorded, right? I believe Mike, it's still being recorded. Okay, yeah. All right. So which of the following code segments will correctly print all elements of a 2D int array called ARR array? Okay, let's look at it. Okay. So for the first one, we have a nested for loop. Okay. And let's check it. So we have int I is 0, I is less than array dot length, I plus plus. For int j, actually, if it helps, let's draw a little 2D array right here. Maybe that'll help. So let's say we have this 2D array, right? Keep in mind my handwriting's not gonna be the best because my styler for some reason decided to stop working like 2 days ago. So now I'm using my mouse. So we gotta so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have one more over here. 9, 10. And you know the rest. We just said dot. Okay. So for this one, for int I is 0, I is less than array dot length. So keep in mind, arrays are there's going to be rows by columns. So the outer loop has to take care of the rows. The inner loop is the columns. Okay. So let's look at this example. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 4 rows. No, I'm sorry. I am very stupid. That's 4 columns. This is 5 rows. Right? We got 4 columns. Okay. So the hope is that the outer loop goes until 5, less than 5, and the inner loop goes until 4. Okay. But let's look at it. Int I is 0, I is less than array dot length. So that's less than 5. Okay. But here we see it's going to be j equals 0, j is less than array dot length. Remember, array dot length is the rows. All right. So this is going to be j is less than 4. Right. But we have, wait, sorry. This is going to be j is less than, j is less than 5. Yep. So now you might be thinking, well, that's not big of an issue. We got 4 columns. We got 5. 5 is still greater than 4. So shouldn't we get all the columns? But the issue is, say we're on our first row, right? So it's going to be, okay, column, this is columns. J is going to be 0, J is 1, this is 0, J is going to be 1, and J is going to be 2, and J is going to be 3. But because it's less than array dot length, which is 5, then it's going to go until 4. But we don't have anything on 4, right? There's nothing there. So then it's going to give us an error, being like, oh, what are you trying to get? There's nothing, we don't have anything declared there. So right off the bat, one doesn't work, right? Does anyone have any questions about why that's the case? Does anyone want me to go over it again? So this, like a simple fix here, but instead of this is being array dot length, this would be array I dot length dot length. Then it would have worked. But because it's using the same limit for both, it won't work. So for 2, this is using a for each loop. And so basically the idea of a for each loop is we have for each loop. It goes through each item in the array. And we see that for the outer loop, since this is kind of an array of arrays, each item within this array is technically an array itself. Right? So it's an array of arrays. Array of arrays. Right? So this right here goes through each array in the 2D array. Right? That's basically what you do using a for each loop. So for each array in the 2D array, now inside the little middle loop, now we have for int j0, j is less than x dot length, and this works because this is taking the length of the array. So length of x, and then prints out xj, prints out next line. So if we were to do this, so outer loop for each array in array. So this is first going to be on this array, but then we print out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this array, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Okay, so this one checks out. Right? Does anyone have any questions? Any questions so far? All right, if no one has any questions. So for 3, we see it uses a similar thing. Okay, so for int I an array, okay, you could think that makes sense. Okay, and for int j and I, system.out.print array I and j. But here's the thing with for each loops in general. For each loop, so if we have like a sequence of like objects, it returns each object, right? But it doesn't know, like, in terms of everything else, like anything else about the object. It just returns it in order, right? So it doesn't know that, like, stuff like about the index. It doesn't keep track of that. So this first for loop right here, it will return each array, like each 1D array, one-dimensional array within the 2D array. And then this in a for loop will return each integer in the 1D array, right? So in this scenario, I and j aren't indices. I and j are not indices. So now if you print this out being like array I, j, the computer is going to be like, well, first of all, I is an array itself. So you're passing in an array as the first index. So that's right off the bat, you can't do that. And j, you never know what j is, right? Like right here, I mean, actually, this is a bad example. Like you don't know what the numbers are in the array. It could be like 6, it could be 9, 10, 4, right? So on for each individual number. So it's going to be like, well, these aren't indices. These are just like values itself. So this is going to be wrong right here. Right? You can't do that. These aren't, just to reiterate, these values here, these are not indices. Where in this, like in this scenario, int I is equal to 0, and j is equal to 0, yada, yada, yada. These are indices. These are indices because they're like counters. Here, they're just items. They're just objects. Right? So the only one that checks, so this is wrong, this is wrong. The only one that works is 2. Is everyone good with that? Anyone have any questions about it? Speak now or forever hold your silence. Or we could, if anyone has questions later on, we can come back to this question later on. I'm taking the silence as everyone is good. Everyone is chilling. Love to see that. Love to see that. Okay. Next question. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, we're good. We're good. Thank you for the responses, everyone. This is why I hated online learning. It was just blank. No one said anything. And to be fair, I was one of those students that never said anything, but anyways. Assume that you are writing a program which asks the user for a grade. You want this program to prevent the users from entering any grades that are outside of the range 0, 100, inclusive. And this is these are inclusive. Inclusive. You are using the following program segments to query the user until a single proper grade is entered. Okay, while blank, system that is invalid, enter a grade. Okay. Which of the following conditions can be put in place of the question marks in the while loop to accomplish the desired task? Okay. So remember, we only want to enter the while loop when this is true. And since you look at the while loop, this is saying, okay, that is invalid, enter a grade. We assume that we only enter the while loop when an invalid grade is run. Invalid grade is entered. Invalid grade. Okay. So what are the only valid grades? 0 through 100. So let's see. If the grade entered, if grade is less than 0 or grade is greater than 100, you ask it. Yep, looks good. Right? This is basically saying what we wanted. If it's not in this range, i.e., if grade is less than 0, it's less than 0, so this way. Or if it's greater than 100, do that way. Then we want to ask again. All right, so now it's a bit of like Boolean algebra. Like this goes on. Okay. However, if grade is not 0, grade. Okay. So just a quick review. This little exclamation point. This basically means not. I believe so, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I will make mistakes from time to time, but if I do, correct me if I'm wrong. So this is saying not grade is equal to 0. So if we convert it, not grade being less than 0 means grade is greater than or equal to 0, or grade is greater than 0 means not grade is greater than 0 means grade is less than or equal to 0, not less than 0, 100, right? So this part, this isn't good because this is what we want. This is the correct grade we want. We either want it to be greater than or equal to 0 or less than or equal to 100, right? We don't want to ask them that. We don't want to tell them that's an invalid grade when they put the valid grade. That would be very poor programming. So that's a big no. All right. And this one we're going to apply a little bit of De Morgan's law. I don't know if you guys know this law. Probably he taught you, but yeah, I'm just going to quickly go over it. If A union, this union means or. So A union B prime is A prime and B prime. And then A intersect B prime. This is and. This is A prime or B prime. As you can tell, I'm more of a math person than CS, but let's see. So let's calculate. Let's convert this. This is going to become, first, we see the and becomes or, right? So this becomes not this, so not that, or not that, right? So we know it's going to be a union in between, or actually, I'm not using union. You got to stop being mathy. This is a CS review, not math 120. This is going to be or, right? All right. So not grade greater than or equal to 0. The opposite of being greater than or equal to 0 is if you're less than 0. So grade less than 0. And once again, the opposite of being less than or equal to 100 is if it's greater than 100. Grade greater than 100. And as we see, well, this is technically the same thing as we put 1. So checks out. Right? This one is just an application of De Morgan's law. Or another exercise you could do is like, if you want, you could just let grade equal some number. So grade is equal to like, let's say a 97. If it passes the statement, it's good. Well, no, if it passes, it's actually, yeah. If this is true for this statement, that means it's not good because we want it to be false. This is going to be false here because we never want to enter a while loop. So if it's false, then we're good. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? So this is going to be 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Anyone have any questions about this question or De Morgan's law? Once again, I'm just going to speed run through these, so your silence will be taken as a yes automatically. All good, all good. Thank you, thank you. What is the output of the program segment below? So we got 3 integers, num1, num2, num3. Keep in mind these are integers. All right. Int average equals num1 plus num2 plus num3 over 3. System.out.println average. Okay. So first of all, it's not gonna be a double, so that's out of the equation. Anyways. Yeah, well, if it helps, like try to eliminate questions that won't make sense. I don't think syntax early, but let's see. So once again, programs are made for humans to read, so they go from left to right. And remember, they follow PEMDAS, E-N-D-A-S, right? So we got num1 plus num2 plus num3 over 3. Since it follows PEMDAS, it will do the num3 over 3 first. Everyone agree? So what is it going to give us? It's going to give us num1, which is 500, plus num2, which is 200, plus num3, which is 300 over 3. Well, according to division being for addition, this will evaluate first, and we're left with 500 plus 200 plus 300 over 3 is 100, which gives us 800. Definitely the wrong answer in terms of getting the average, but here, this is what it outputs, right? If he were to like, yes, no, he doesn't want to fix it. But if he were to fix it, first of all, he would do, if you were to fix this code, you want to put parentheses around this, right? To ensure that what the computer does what the computer does is that it adds these first and then divides it. And just to be sure, since you want to get a decimal as well, you could always divide instead of 3, but 3.0, so that it gets converted to a decimal. But anyways, this is 800, right? Because it does the division first. 300 divided by 3. Erase this parentheses. I don't want to confuse anyone. Division first, then addition. 500 plus 200 plus 100, 800. Okay. That wasn't too bad, right? So I'm going to stop asking if you guys are all good. I don't want to like waste your time. So if you do have any questions about any past questions we've done, you want me to slow down, feel free to like either turn on your mic and like scream it out loud. I won't take offense, don't worry. I get yelled at by students all the time. I don't get yelled at by students, but or you can say in the chat. So okie dokie. Consider the following code segments. We got doubles. Okay, this is important. These are doubles. Okay. And we got typecasting. Int C is A divided by B, converted to an integer. So remember, just a little quick thing that I like to remember. An integer is always the floor of a double, right? So any double you want to convert it to an integer, just take its floor, and double becomes integer. Okay. Integers never round up. That's what I'm just trying to prove with this. Integers always round down. Integers will always round down. So like that's why if you do integer division of 1/2, 1 divided by 2, you'll get 0. Because this is technically 0.5, and it always drops decimal, so it always rounds down. So it's 0. Okay, let's keep that in mind here. So let's do this. C is, let's just line by line. Let's go on this line. C is going to be integer of A divided by B. So A divided by B, 10 divided by 3.5. That is, I want to say 2 point, anyone got that? I don't know if he allows you to use a calculator on this exam, so maybe you just use divided by 3.5. That ends up being just 2.8 something, something, something. But what we see is that we later converted to an int, right? So remember, int always takes the floor, or in other words, just deletes the decimal portion. So this portion right here goes away, and we're left at C is 2. Okay. All right. This, however, in D is different because you see, first we typecast each part, and then we divide. So first we convert 10 to an integer, which is just 10, right? And then we convert 3.5 to an integer, which once again drops the decimal, and we get 10 divided by 3. This ends up being 3 point something, but because it's an integer division always leaves an integer, we get 3. Okay. Everyone good with that? Everyone good with these two? Could be. Okay. All right, sounds good. So what are we left with? C is 2, D is 3. So we want to find int E is C minus D. Well, first of all, once again, if something's bleedingly obvious, get rid of it. E is an integer, so it'll never be a double. Right, so that's gone. So C is 2 minus 3, right? 2 minus 3 minus 1. That's your answer. Everyone okay? That was just seeing if you know typecasting or not. Okay. All right. Oh, it's another we change up the color. Color you guys want? Let's do green. It's a nice one. Okay. This is another De Morgan's Law question. So let's move the chat right here. Okay. So remember, write it in terms of computer science language. Not statement A and statement B. That becomes not A or not B. Okay. So let's convert this. Not A, but this is going to be not A is less than or equal to B, or not C is not equal to D. Okay. Once again, let's take the opposite of this. So let's do the easy one first. The opposite of not being equal is just being equal. So that's going to be C equals D. And the opposite of being less than or equal to something is just being greater. So this becomes A is greater than B. Okay. Okay, so then let's see which one. This is 3, right? So right off the bat, we know 3 is going to be good. So this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. Okay. Okay, so now 1 is wrong. And you guys will see because there's an and here, but we end up with an or, right? Because this and, admit, this not applies to the or to the and as well, right here. So this and becomes an or. So because we have an and here, this is not good. Very bad, very bad. This is not equal. So now let's see. If we were to switch the order, right? C equals D, or A is greater than B. In essence, this doesn't really matter, right? So I just want to wait, someone sent something in the chat. Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. So then not, oh, that's a horrible parentheses. Correcting that. Not A and B. Well, that's the same thing as not B and A. Because like in essence, like these two are the same. These are like symmetric. So it ends up being not B or not A. Okay, so let's evaluate number 2. So this is going to be not D does not equal C, or, and comes or not B is greater than or equal to A. And once more, let's see. So this becomes, remember, opposite of not equal is just equals. So D equals C. There's another equal sign here. So does this match this? Yep, because D equals C is the same thing as C equals D. Checks out. And then the opposite of this, the opposite of B being greater than or equal to A, is B is less than A. Right? So is B less than A equal to A greater than B? Yep, same thing. Flip it around. And we are good. Excellent. Right? Everyone, does anyone have any questions? I feel like this could be a bit confusing given the order is different, but these are literally the same thing. C is equal to D, the same thing as D is equal to C, right? 1 equals 1 is the same thing as 1 equals 1. Or 2 equals 1 times 2, the same thing as 1 times 2 equals 2, right? And A is greater than B, the same thing as B is greater than A. 2 is greater than 1 is the same thing as 1 is less than 2. So it checks out. So these two work relative E. Okay. Alrighty. We are on page 6. So we're making progress. Not bad. What value is returned from math.power32? I think we did this before, but I'll just quickly repeat it. This is the base. This is the exponent. So it's going to return, remember, this returns a double. This is, yeah, these are all doubles. This is going to return 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. So our answer is this. Okay. Not bad. All right. Consider the following method. Public static void change arrays. Array 1 equals array 2. Wait. Okay. So array 1 now becomes array 2. So this becomes array 2. Sure. Okay. Array 3 is equal, array 1, 3 is equal to 3. Okay. What are the values of A and B after running the following code? Okay. So array 1 is A. This is array 1. This is array 2. 2. Lovely. Okie dokie. So right off the bat, array 1 equals array 2. So everything that's in array 1 becomes array 2. So this is gone. Gone. Right? So this becomes 6. This becomes 7. This becomes 8. This becomes 9. This becomes 10. Right? In essence, it doesn't really do this. It just, this becomes divisible. Right? So they both point to the same array. Okay. But this is, okay. So now that's this first line. The second line then takes the third, or index 3, or in essence, element 4. So this is element 4, right? Of only array 1. Of only array 1. And makes it 3. So then array 1 is A. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 9 becomes 3. Okay. So let's check it. These are the final 2 arrays. So let's see. 6, 7, 8, 3, 10. This is 6, 7, 3, 9, 10. So that's wrong. These both, okay, these both look good for now. But remember, we didn't do anything to array B. Array B is just stays the same. This is stays the same for the little arrow. Nice. Right? So this stays the same. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, see how there's a little 3 here? Bingo, we found our culprit. That's gone. The second array, nothing happens to it. We don't do anything to array 1, array 2, see? Array 1, array 1, array 2 stays the same. So this is our answer. Right? We changed array, we made array A equal array B. We changed the third index element. And then we just leave B as it is. Okay. I see someone said something in the chat. What's wrong? From answer key, answer is A. After running the following code. Mike, does Java have the and sign? Is it automatic? I think it's passed by reference, right? Is it not supposed to change? Wait, sorry, I'm getting it. Sorry, this is a bit different than C++. It's not passed by reference. I think it makes a copy. There's no and sign here. So array 1 is pointing to array 2. Right, so it should be E, no?
Doesn't it change both since array 1 is pointing itself in array 2?
Wait, sorry, could you repeat that?
Shouldn't it be D then, since array 1 is pointing to itself and array 2? If you make any changes to array 1, it'll also make changes to array 2.
Also make it changes to array 2. That's
Am I right or no?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you bring a good point because it is array 1 equal to array 2. The answer sheet says A. Why is the answer sheet say? Hold up 1 second.
So what I think is, so you pass the array A and B. So when you pass it, it will pass by reference. So array 1 equal array 2 mean. So array 1 doesn't become like array 2. And then otherwise, so the array, so let's think about like array 1 or 2 as a pointer from C++, but I should not talk as a pointer. It's not a pointer, but like, let's think about like array 1. Array 2 is pointing to the B, and array 1 is pointing to the A first. But like we do that array like 1 equal array 2, which means that array 1 is now pointing to the B. It's no longer pointing to A. So A doesn't change at all. So if we make change to like array 1, it will change to the like array B instead of like array A. And then so like we are printing A and B again. So A doesn't change at all.
Does.
But like B changed. So you might think, okay, so why the answer is not D? The answer is not D because we are not changing A at all. Okay.
Got it.
That is the reason why I think.
Got it. Yeah, okay. So this is going to be passing. Okay, let's just do this question again. So it passes in 2 arrays. This is array A, this is array B, right? But then it changes the pointer. So now array 1 is not pointing at array 1 A anymore. Array 1 is now also B. Oh, okay, I got it. I got confused with I thought Java automatically had the and sign point passed by pointer, but anywho, that's not the case. So this ends up being, we don't change anything in A, right? We only do array 1. Array 1 is now B. Now B element 3 is now no more. This is then 3. Right? All right. Yep. It's A. I apologize for that. I didn't really never learned this. I never had Steinberg for 212, so this is all foreign to me. All right. Does anyone have any questions about that? I feel like if you are confused, please say something. I don't want to like confuse anyone on this question. Everyone good with it? Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Which of the following lines of code will double the value stored in variable X? Okay, so let's just, for mentality's sake, let's say X is 4. Okay. Line 1, we'll say x times equals 2. So let's expand that. This basically says x equals x times 2, right? And we get that x is equal to whatever x was, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. And that works because it doubles it. So one checks out. For 2, this is saying x is equal to x plus x. To expand this, it's plus equals expands to this, right? And in general, if it's like x and you have an operation equals some value, let's say it's let's do a number, which would be y. This would become x equals x, whatever operation you have, y. Okay. So then this becomes x plus equals x. So x equals x plus x, which equals 4 plus 4, which is 8. So yeah, checks out. Number 3, however, this you just can't have in code, right? You can't, this will give you an error. You can't have this. In code, whenever you do anything with variables, you could either like compare them, right? So you could do like x comparison something, right? Or if you want to set them equal to something, you always need to do x equals. You can't have the plus sign here. This will give you an error. It's gonna be like, what is this doing here, right? So this you can't do. Okay, so by that logic, it's only 1 and 2. All right, everyone good with that? If you have showed up late, I'm like keep repeating this, so I apologize. Wait, ooh, chat. Good. All right, sounds good. If you did show up late, please fill out the form. I think Mike sent them earlier in the chat. If you have to leave early for some reason, yeah. If you do have to leave early, please fill out the feedback form. I hate to keep repeating this, but if I don't, Roy's gonna kill me. So yeah, please do that. I don't want to die. It's never a good thing. Okay, we have 27 minutes. Let's see how much we can do. But actually, before I start, does anyone have any specific questions they have in particular they want to do? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to do all of it. The rest of this, all of it. So if anyone has a specific question they have, I'll give like a brief minute. Please do number 21. Okay, number 21. Where's number 21? Not it. Okay. Yeah, if you have any specific questions in particular, please like state it so that I could like target that question first, and then we could then just speed run. All right, so we got 2 array lists. So we got list string A is a new array list. List string B is also a new array list. List string C is just pointing to this. Is B, so that's just okay. A dot add apple. So now A is just, this is A, this is apple. Right? You got B. You got C. It's also pointing there. So B dot add banana. C dot add cherry. Okay. Remember, we're adding it here because C is just pointing this array. So anything you do with C will also change B, right? So now we're setting B is equal to A. So this is no longer equal to this. This is equal to this. Right, so now B and A are both pointing to the same array list. Right, we did this. B is equal to A. A dot add durian. right? That's good. B dot add elderberry. This is going to be here. Elderberry. Right? C dot add fruit. It's going to be here. Okay. A dot remove 0. So this is gone. B dot remove 0. This is gone. Because remember, once you remove the first element in an array list, so this is no longer there. So now this is now element 0. Right? This is element 0 right here. So durian is now gone. And why is that? Because B is pointing to A. And this means that 0 is now elderberry. And C dot remove 0. So C dot removes 0. So now 0 is cherry. Okay. System.out.println A.get 0, B.get 0, C.get 0. So get the first element from A. That's elderberry. It's going to be elderberry. I can type it out. Oh, you know, just change everything. We got elder. Do that. Berry. All right. What do you mean? Okay. And B.get 0. What is the first element in B? Remember, B is pointing to A as well. So that's once again, it's elderberry. Right. And then C.get 0, where is 0 pointing for C? It is cherry. And that's your answer. Right? Because remember, B and A are pointing to the same thing. So anything you do for, can you do a pointer type thing here? Mixed thing. Anything you do for A will also be for B. And C, we just adjust the pointers. That's cherry. So A.get 0 is just going to be elderberry. B.get C equals A now, right? Or am I wrong? Because B points to A. No. Because see here how when we declared C, C points to B initially. But that doesn't mean that once we change B, that'll also change C. These act in like independent, like because C is also in a separate list, right? That's why for when we change the pointer for B, it doesn't impact C because C is its own object. C points towards this. That's what C points to. Once we change the pointer for B, that only changes B's pointer. B now points to A. C still points to whatever B pointed to initially. Okay. Is that, oh no, your name's the man. If C wasn't an object, would it point to A as well? C wasn't an object, would it point to A as well? Are you talking about after we do this B equals A thing right here? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. D. I don't, yeah, I would, because once again, in the code, these variables, even though they do point to different things, they act like independently. Like when it comes to like assignment. All right. So if I were to like declare a new array D, or not array list D, right? And I change the pointer for A to then point to D, that would not change anything for B. B still points to whatever A pointed to initially. Right? Because these pointers, they point towards, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. They point towards whatever like you set it to. Right? If I then say that A equals B equals D, I don't think that's possible, but if A equals D and B equals D, these would point to the same thing. But as pointers, they act independently. Right? But that I want you to get confused. If I were to add something to A, let me just remove D here. That would also mean that if I add something to B, it would be in the same. They point to the same thing, but the pointers themselves are independent. Okay. Does everyone get it? I think who asked Kenny's? If you answer, yeah, the answer is right. Does this make sense? Is it to everyone? I think who has it? To everyone who. Okay. Yes, in all caps. Whoa. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Does anyone have any other question they want to go over specifically? Anything? $23. Which one's that one? Okay. What will be printed by the following line of code? Okay. Answer most of them in chat. No problem, no problem. So 23, this one. Good color. Orange. What will be printed out by the following lines of code? Remember, program goes left to right, like us English people do. So we go 1 plus 2 plus string. This is a string right here. I'll make that obvious. String plus int 4 plus int 5. Okay, so one second, check. What is it doing? Number 23, right? 23 is supposed to be. Oh, okay. String plus 4. Okay, sure. So we gotta do it in order. Okay, I see what. Okay. So we do it in order of what we get it. So the first thing we do, so it's 1 is an integer, 2 is an integer, right? So 1 plus 2 is 3. Oops, someone said something. Concax or cyber. Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you for that. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus the string 3 plus 3. This becomes 33. Right? And remember, this is now a string. So now string, because remember, we go from left to right, 33 plus 4, this becomes 3, 3, 4. And 33, 3, 3, 4 plus 5, that's 3, 3, 4, 5. Once as, what's her name? Bone. Sorry, I don't want to butcher anyone's names, but as was mentioned in the chat, right after something becomes a string, anything added onto a string automatically becomes a string, right? So it's not like we could add this first and then we add this and then we add them on both sides of the string. No, because it has to go in order, left to right. Right? So 1 plus 2, because this is integer addition, this evaluates to 3. And once we add on the string 3, this becomes 3 plus concatenated with 3, which is 33. 3 concatenated with 4, which is 334. Concatenated with 75. What about 3? 4 plus 5. If there was a parentheses, right? 3. If there ever is a parentheses, the program will always do what's in the parentheses first. So in that case, it will evaluate 4 plus 5. And then it concatenate it with 3, which is going to be 3 plus 9, which is going to be 39. All right, so if you were to like do it like this, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, these both will evaluate first 3 and 9. And then you have the string in the middle, which is 339. Okay. All right, Tom, does that answer your question? Okay. Who brought this question up? Lane. I'm not really bad with names, but did it answer the question?
Yeah.
Question? Sounds good. Does anyone else have anything in particular they want to go over? Any question? 41. Hold on. 41. What is the output of the following code segment? A is 10, R is 5, so do while. So the thing with the do while loop is, so whenever you have, when it comes to while loops, right, there's always a chance that if this condition in the parentheses is not met, that you never like do the while. You never actually like go into the while loop. So a do while loop avoids that by just doing whatever the condition is it at least once. Like, so this will confirm that whatever's in here will be completed at least one time. And then afterwards, it'll check the while statement and then continue if needed. If this while checks out, then you keep going back. Okay. So let's do this. This is going to be, so A is 10, R is 5. So R plus equals A. So now R now becomes 5 plus 10, which is 15. And A minus equals R. Okay. A minus equals R. So then A becomes 10 minus 15. Remember, R is not 15. So A becomes 10 minus 15, which is minus 5. Right? We check while R is greater than A, 15 is greater than -5. Checks out. Let's do it again. R plus equals -5, which means R becomes 10, right? Because 15 plus -5 is 15 minus 5. Let me just write this here. 15 plus -5 is 15 minus 5, which is 10. Okay. And then A minus equals R. This is 10. A minus equals R. So A goes from -5 to -5 minus 10. It's -15. Okay. 10 is greater than 15. Okay, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'll send these notes to Mike as well. He'll post it in the same Discord server. So where were we? Okay, R plus equals A. R plus -5. 15. So it's going to be 10 plus -15 is equal to 10 minus 15 -5. Not -5, right? And then A minus equals R, so A is -15. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Minus 5, which is -15, plus 5, which is -10. So A is now -10. Okay, -5 is still greater than -10, so we go on again. R plus equals A, it says right here. R plus equals A, so -5 plus equals -10. That's -5 minus 10, -15. A minus equals R, so A is -10. Minus negative. Am I doing this wrong? Hold up. A minus equals R. 5 equals -10 plus 5, which is -5. And that is now -15. This is now -5. And -15 is not greater than -5. So this ends here. So it's not going to be A, of course. So A comma 5, -5. This is a comma, sorry. -5 or -15. I screwed up somewhere. Does anyone see where I messed up? I think it's one of my arithmetic. Anyone see it? This is the answer. The answer from the answer key is B. 5 -15. I did it wrong. Oh. Oh yeah, sorry. This is now, yeah, this is not -5, this is -15. I'm sorry. We update R first and then, okay, got it. This is not -5 because forget to update it. This is now -10 plus, not plus, minus -15, -10 plus 15, which is +5. So we're left with +5, -15, which is B. Right? So when doing this, just like keep track of A and R. And like always like update it. Whenever you change a variable, always update immediately, because otherwise, like me, you're gonna like I thought this was initially what you would change A with. It isn't. You first update R before A. So then we subtract this from this, not this. Right? So that's not what we're doing. Okay, that's why it's this. It's B. Okay. This is just like a test of whether you could like track it. Right? The only way it would be an infinite loop is if R would like continually go down, A would continually go like both. R continually goes up, R goes to infinity, A goes points down, then it would be an infinite loop, otherwise it wouldn't. Because it's like plus and minus and it negatives, positives, that's why it doesn't go to infinity. Is everyone good? Who asked this question? Steven, are you, as well as everyone else, is everyone good with this question? If you are confused, please let me know. This question isn't so much coding as it is like just going through and like iterating through the code itself. Everyone good with it? You good? You guys, Steven? Nice, nice, nice. All right. We got 8 minutes. Anyone else have any other questions? Yeah. Oh no, if you leave, please fill out the feedback form before you leave. Anyone have any other questions they want to go over from these questions given? Someone want me to choose a random one? Everyone's still there? I feel like it shouldn't be worth, so I just randomly go through. I feel like with 8 minutes left, we're not gonna go through everything. So if anyone, well, 7 minutes now. If anyone does have any specific questions they have, I guess ask now or forever hold your silence. Everything good? Mike, you want to do a random one? You want to pick a random question and do it? Use a Java random number, I guess. Max dot min. Max plus min. I got it. Anyways. Everyone good? Everyone good? I think we're leaving now. So someone want me to do a random question or pick one? Let's see which one's all this. Well, you want to do I meant like a random question out of the ones given. You want to do a question that talks about random? It uses the random function, like this one. Let's see. Sure. Okay. Let's do this. So for questions 19 to 20, from word, okay, word length equals word dot length, int letter index equals int math dot random times word dot length. String letter is no. String int letter index equals int math dot random times word dot length. Okay. So let's just go back to the formula. It's going to be math dot random. We're going to be already pulling it up. It's going to be math dot random times max minus min plus 1 plus min. So we want to replace this line with whichever one it is. Okay, so it's going to be int dot random. Okay, so right off the bat, we don't want to do just because if you just can do the int here, it's only going to convert this. Actually, That's fine. Let's see. See which one best fits it. It's going to be, we want to keep max minus min plus 1. Word dot length is word length, so that's max minus min. Min is in this case, max is this. Min is 0 plus 1 plus 0. So 0 goes away. Plus 0, this is still here. It's going to be max plus 1. Word dot length. And since word dot length is just going to be, actually, I think that works. Because here, the reason why you would do, initially here, you would do word dot length gives, so if you think about it in terms of like a string is like an array of characters. So this is word dot length minus 1. Word dot length minus 1, right? So in essence, we don't really need the plus 1 right here because this just cancel out with this. What are we left with is word dot length, right? So that's word length, and so we don't need the plus 1, right? And see here, we have int. We want to apply it to the entire thing. So that's why we add the extra shredded parentheses right here. So that's the wrong one, sorry. Actually, because this is the plus. You can't have that. Yeah, right here. Right. Remember, this plus 1, it gets canceled out by the minus 1 from word length. So this goes away. So what are we left with? We're left with this. So this would be C. Right. So the only change is that you just want to apply this int to the entire line, okay? Everyone good with that? Bunch of people left. I hope they fill out the form. Okay, we're good with this. Sounds good, sounds good. Line 4. Word.charat. So line 4, string letter is word.substring. So dot substring goes from letter index and goes up by 1. So it's going to be word.charat. Because this is word.char, so we'll return a character. Not 100% sure. I think it won't. You're going to have to typecast it because it's this returns a character, but we want a string. So you're going to have to typecast it as a string. String. So that's why this doesn't work. Letter index. This one won't work because with substring, it will start from, basically it's like, this is the starting point. The first value is always a starting point. And if there is no second value, it just goes to the end of the string. So end of string. And string. Otherwise, if you do include a second parameter, this is like the last value it goes. So it goes from this to, so it goes from A to B. And if A isn't given, it just goes from A to end. Right? So that's why for B we can't have that, because this will just give us the rest of the word. We just want one letter. So this is the rest of the word. This is word. This will give us the rest. We just want one letter. So no can do. Line 4 best as is. Once again, this it's not best because we don't know where letter index is. It could be 0, it could be 1. We don't really know where it is. Right? Like it's random. So we don't know whether it's going to be less than, equal to, or etc. So we can't have it just 1. So instead we would have, and once again, D, if you go from word, anything from word to just word, it would just return the substring here. And this is just nothing, so it's just an empty string. That's why we can't have D. It always has to be, this second value always has to be greater than. It could be equal to, but if it's equal to, it just returns an empty string. The second value, let's name it B, has to be greater than the starting value. Let's name it A for this to work. Right? For here. Sorry, here. So that's why C is the correct answer. Because this just goes from where we are here, next letter, and everything before, which is just the O. Right? Checks out. All right. So that's why it's C. Okay. Everyone good with that? So if anyone has any questions, we could feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, if we're all good, I think Mike has a recording. He will send this on the Learning Commons and your professor will send it to you later on. Please, 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 please fill out the feedback form. It just gives us very useful information since we hold a bunch of these review sessions, so it's important that we get the information about it. And yeah, if no one has any other questions, I don't know what else to say. Good luck in your exam. You guys are gonna ace it. And yeah. Have a great day, everyone. No problem, no problem.
Thank you, bro.
Mhm.